his way to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the IBF Cruiserweight Champion of the World, flying out of Wlodarczyk, Russia, Gassiev.
Boxing Super Series semifinals for the Cruiserweight division are set. In the Saturday night in the second quarterfinal, Gassiev put to rest any doubters as he scored a sensational third round knockout over Wlodarczyk. FightJournal.com was in the house. So that sets up a semifinal of Gassiev versus Wlodarczyk, or Dorticos, as most people like to say, even though most people are probably wrong with that pronunciation. The other semifinal will be Alexander Usyk, who's the favorite, versus Marius Briedis. The winner's going to take home something like $10 million. So I picked Gassiev by mid-round knockout, but he got the job done in the third round with a left uppercut to the head, left hook to the body combination that put Wlodarczyk down and put him out. I'm going to talk about that fight in a little bit. I just want to brief you on the undercard. First, you had Maciej Sulecki. He won a 10-round unanimous decision over Jack Kolke, which was a title eliminator for the right to face Jermell Charlo. Now, if the name Kolke sounds familiar, he was the guy who gave Demetrius Andrade a little bit more than he bargained for in a split decision loss, a title loss earlier this year, when Andrade went overseas and fought in I guess the best way to put it is a sloppy fight, which probably a little closer than he wanted it to be, and so that ended in a split decision. Sulecki won by scores of 98-92, 97-93, 96-94 in a fight that I thought it had some very good action watching it live, especially in the later rounds. It was a good scrap. It was a good fight. A lot of people out here call themselves boxing fans, and to be honest, look, and I'm not saying that they're not boxing fans, but if I say this was a decent fight, and people, they're like, man, I'm not gonna watch guys whose name I can't pronounce, then I guess you're not a true boxing fan. It was a decent fight. I mean, even if you watch rounds, let's say 6 through 10 or 7 through 10, to me that's a boxing fan. A boxing fan is going to hear somebody say they should watch it, and they're going to watch it. But that's not what we are, especially in America. We like to think we know more about boxing than the average casual fan, which most times we do. But then we'll kind of watch casual fights, and because we're forced to watch an undercard, we'll watch that too. But how many people are going to go back and watch these fights? Not many, if you ask me. So in the 10th round, I'm just gonna summarize it because once again, I mean, who's the audience that's gonna watch this? So 10th round, 7th round was great. 7th round was fantastic for Colque. In the 10th round, Colque threw some wild shots, being the shorter guy and with less reach. Zaleski landed a big right hand while Colque was on the ropes, and he was on wobbly legs. But then near the end of the fight, Colque finished strong, and he hurt Zaleski bad with a shot of his own, but he couldn't drop him as the bell sounded. So that's the type of fight. It had ebbs and flows. It was nip and tuck. It was like one guy got his stuff off, and then the next guy came back and said, okay, let me do one better. And I was back and forth action. It seriously was a good scrap. And at the end, when the scores were read, the Colque fans booed. They thought their guy won. And Zaleski thought he won. So Zaleski says, it was a very tough fight, and I had to be at my best. I didn't think he'd be quite as tough, but I wanted to fight him, and I got him. The 7th round was the toughest round for me. Seriously, it was a big round for Colque. He's right. I got hit with a couple big shots, but I wanted a war. I was never going to let down. I want the best in the division, and that means facing Jermell Charlo. I'm ready to challenge for a title. And he's right. It was that kind of fight. I just wish it was on television, and then even if it was on TV, you have to ask yourself, what type of boxing fan is going to watch it? Colque, his statement was, it was a close fight. Hard to tell, but I felt like I was winning. It was very close, but I really thought I was winning. I felt like I was strong. I thought that I hurt him, but this is boxing. I would love a rematch, but either way, I will be back even stronger. Great fan support for both guys. I mean, it was this. There were less people at the event than I thought would be there. I don't have an official count, but man, I thought more. A lot of Polish fans, of course, to see their guy, or their guys, I should say. But I just thought that there would be more fans in attendance overall, let alone the Polish to see Wlodarczyk, and then of course the Russians to see Gassiev, and then the Poles also came to see a guy we'll talk about in the next fight, Masterneck, and then Bujai, who's from New York. And then, of course, Zaleski also from Poland. Kolke's from Germany. But I don't know. I just, between the New Yorkers and the Polish and the Russians, I thought there would be, I just thought there would be a bigger crowd. I'm going to leave it at that. But moving on. In the co-feature or the co-main event, you had also, even though they're not part of the tournament, you had some cruiserweights. Mateusz Masternak took on Stevens Bujai. Bujai being from New York, and Masternak, Poland. And Masternak moved to 40 wins, 4 losses, 27 knockouts, as he defeated Bujai, who dropped to 16 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 11 knockouts. And Masternak won this fight by 7th round knockout. Now, for the New Yorkers that were there, they were very, very vocal. And they were backing Bujai, who fights out of New York. And he had quite a few people backing him, but he just didn't mount enough offense in this fight. Masternak outworked him all throughout the fight. Bujai seems to be an okay fighter. One flaw that I noticed about Bujai is that he kind of ducks to the right defensively. Kind of, if you look at last week's fight between Jamal Charlo and Erickson Lubin, how when Lubin got defensive, he kind of ducked over or ducked down. It's a bad defensive position. And Masternak hit Bujai every time he did it, sometimes on the back of the head, but what he tried to do is catch him on the chin, and then as he backed away, but still in that ducking position, tried to catch him on his way out, and he nicked him on the back of the head a couple of times. So hopefully he can get that fixed. Masternak was just a step faster all night, landing lefts and rights and getting out of dodge before Bujai can counter him. In the 7th round, he landed a nice body combination. And then a left and a right behind the ear sent Bujai down. Bujai got up, but his legs were shaking. He didn't really have his balance. And so Masternak came and he started teeing off, but he couldn't finish him. And then the bell rang. Now here's why I said if you allow the count in fights, when a guy gets up and he's clear, but maybe he's a little off balance, you ask him, are you okay? What city are you in? Okay, come a little forward. Even though he doesn't have the greatest legs, you give him a shot. And in this case, Bujai survived the round. He walks to his corner, and once again, if a guy can last and get his legs and his equilibrium together, he can continue. In this case, Bujai finished the round, but his corner decided that was enough, and the referee. Up to that point, it was a clean sweep on my card for Masternak. So Masternak's comments after the fight, I got stronger as the fight went on. I was ready to go hard rounds and use my attack to overwhelm him. Once I started using combinations, I was very effective in hurting him. That made the difference for me. I stayed focused and kept my right hand to deliver damage. I'm ready to fight with anyone they put in front of me. I'm always ready in the gym, and I can't wait to get back into the ring. Stevens Bujai. I thought I was boxing well, but I wasn't offensive enough. Understatement. I was trying, but I felt like I was one step behind. Understatement. I was defensively rusty. I'm disappointed in myself. I know I could have fought better than that and performed better. I just didn't feel like myself tonight. And he did. He looked sluggish. He just a step behind. Also on the card, much talked about middleweight prospect Money Powell, the fourth, who we've covered on the website. He moved to 5-0 with 3 knockouts as he won a unanimous decision over Brandon Adams, who drops to 4 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw with 2 knockouts. So Money Powell wins, but he had to survive a knockdown in the first round to do so. Got dropped, got up, finished the fight, and he won 59-55, 59-56, 58-55 on the scorecards. So Brandon Adams was a lefty, was a southpaw. So it may be back to the drawing board with Money Powell and as far as fighting southpaws and maybe looking, watching some tape, seeing what they have to look out for. But he's a good kid, fantastic amateur, so we'll see. We'll see where we'll watch him progress, I should say. Let me get to the main event. Okay. Now, even though I wasn't a full doubter myself of Gassiev, I mean, I did pick him by mid-round knockout. I did have some concerns due to his inexperience. I picked him due to a couple of reasons. Number one, I believe that Wlodarczyk was a bit past it, like Marco Hook was. And number two, Gassiev passed his first test by defeating Denis Lebedev to gain the IBF belt. So I felt much better picking Gassiev because of passing that test, even though it was a split decision. Even though some may say Lebedev won, as close as that fight might have been, the fact that it was close, it did go the distance. Gassiev passed that test. This kid is only 24 years old, and he turned 24 less than 2 weeks ago. He's Gennady Golovkin's boy. A lot of times, if you see Golovkin, when you hear the stories about Gennady Golovkin sparring cruiserweights and heavyweights and light heavyweights and super middleweights and so on and so forth. Well, here's one of the guys. He's hitting hard too, Gassiev. And Gassiev will tell you how hard Golovkin's, how hard he hits too. So, this is Gennady's boy. Of course, they both trained by Abel Sanchez, and they do their work in Big Bear, California. So, in this fight, the first round was a fill-out round. I'm looking at my notes now, as Gassiev finally threw a left hand that was blocked in the first round. Wlodarczyk, a short time later, threw a left of his own, which was also blocked. Gassiev started working behind the double jab, and then he repeated it later in the opening round. Gassiev landed an overhand right and did it again 30 seconds later. Gassiev threw another double jab and the round ended. Very little action in the first round. Wlodarczyk seemed very tentative. Those are my notes from round one. Round two. Gassiev came out with a double jab again in round two. Notice he uses a high guard as he looks to throw the double jabs again. He threw a nice right hand that got through Wlodarczyk's guard. Wlodarczyk threw a double jab of his own. Wlodarczyk followed with a nice three-piece body shot to get on the scoreboard. Another double jab and right hand and a beautiful left uppercut by Gassiev. Couple body shots by Wlodarczyk. Nice left hook to the body by Gassiev, and later he threw an overhand right. The fight is beginning to heat up. Gassiev has been coming forward in both rounds, with Wlodarczyk showing plenty of movement, as we did talk about in the prediction. Gassiev is doing a great job at cutting the ring off and not just following Wlodarczyk. I think Gennady Golovkin is the best in the world at cutting the ring off, and no doubt Abel Sanchez has Gassiev practicing the same, because he was superb in cutting the round off on Saturday night. Round three, both guys come out jabbing. Wlodarczyk's giving movement and Gassiev is stalking him. Both guys jabbing and throwing shots. Wlodarczyk jabs to the body to keep Gassiev off and keeps throwing shots. Gassiev jabs, hooks, and uppercuts. Nope. Let me translate that again. Wlodarczyk is throwing shots to the body and head to keep Gassiev off of him. Gassiev is throwing jabs, hooks, and uppercuts to hurt Wlodarczyk. There's a difference. Then Gassiev threw a beautiful left uppercut to the head, left hook to the body, and Wlodarczyk fell face forward to the canvas. He tried his best to get up, but he couldn't. That liver shot took the air out of him, and he stayed on his knees for a couple of minutes. Game over. And I'm sure some people are going to put some highlight video on YouTube, but really he took all the air out of him. I mean, he just went down face forward, and it's a thing where you're trying to breathe but you can't. And then he got to the point where he got on his knees and he just couldn't do it. And then for maybe a minute or two he just stayed in that position on his knees. It's a shot that takes the life out of you, and it doesn't. Gassiev hits hard, of course, but it doesn't look as hard as when some other cruiserweights hit you. It's like Mikey Garcia before he took his 2.5 years off. He would knock guys out, and it's like, it doesn't look like he's hitting you hard, but man, those guys are in pain. And the same here. So after the fight, Abel Sanchez said that he thought Gassiev started a little too slow. He wanted him to close the distance a lot quicker. He said that when Gassiev lands that punch, the way that they work on it in camp, no opponent is going to be able to get up. And Abel Sanchez said that their goal is to unify the division. Now, my man, Junior Dorticos was there, and he said, I really want Gassiev to win because he's going to taste the power of a real man against me. His opponent tonight was past his time. I'm ready to show him what a champion looks like and give him a challenge he's never faced before. I want to take his belt. I want to get into the ring and destroy Gassiev. And I'm telling you, he means every word of what he said. You have to see this fight. You have to see the Final Four, but you definitely have to see. If I find a way, I'm gonna find a way. Look, if it's in the States, I might go to it. If it's not, I'm gonna find a way to stream it. The final, the World Boxing Super Series final is gonna be in, I want to say Saudi Arabia. Am I saying that right? It's gonna be in. It's not gonna be in the United States. I don't know where this fight is gonna be, but I'm telling you, it's. You got the FightJournal.com guarantee that fight, Gassiev versus Dorticos, is going to end in a knockout. Guaranteed. You don't want to miss it. So I'm excited. I think the next fights will let's put it this way. Like I said earlier in the previous video, this isn't like the Super middleweight tournament a few years ago, when 5-6 years ago, whenever it was, where it seemed like it took 3 years these guys will be back at it in, I think, January, and then and then the final, the World Boxing Super Series Cruiserweight final, will be in May of 2018. So they're not messing around. These guys fight. There's not a bunch of politics like the American fighters have. None of that. I want to protect my O. All 4 guys are undefeated, and all 4 guys will be fighting for $10 million, or the opportunity to win $10 million in May 2018. You gotta love this. I just hope that somebody picks up the semifinals and the final for this, as well as the middleweight. I just hope somebody picks up these fights for the super middleweight, as well as the cruiserweight. Anybody, Fox, ESPN, Showtime, HBO, anybody, somebody pick these fights up. It was a good night, Newark, New Jersey. Shout out to, I want to thank Swanson, Public Relations, first of all. And I definitely want to thank my man Daniel Saratelli, attorney at law. Got a chance to chat with him. And that's my guy. He's in the boxing game. For sure. Antonio, my man, ABA Boxing, Antonio from New York. Shout out to him and his crew. They were there, and we're gonna be doing some things with ABA Boxing in 2017 as well as 2018. So stay tuned for that. Some podcasts and some other stuff, and we'll catch you on the next one.
We'll be right back.